Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd of The Needle Drop. Today teaming up with Skype for a new series called On Track with The Needle Drop, an interview series where our first guest is going to be the legendary Alice Cooper.
Come on, you guys, get up on your feet. Welcome the madman of rock. It is Alice Cooper! Yeah! Sign in, please. Give him a round of applause. That's awesome. We're going to get the Needle Drop on here. Mr. Alice Cooper, the Needle Drop.
What up, dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. It's not every day you get to speak with Alice Cooper.
Well, I do every day.
Does that get boring for you, or do you just make up new versions of yourself in your head to talk to later down the road?
No, you know, the great thing about being Alice Cooper is I don't have to be Alice Cooper all the time. When you get to play this character every night, during the day, I'll get up in the morning and play golf, go to the movies, do whatever I want to do. And then that night, I get to be this villain on stage, this sort of vaudevillain, and I look forward to it.
Before I get deep into any questions that I have for you, and I do have some questions, there are a few guest callers that we are doing a little question within this interview. Unkit from Moscow, we have a question coming all the way from Moscow, and we have Sue from Jersey, who's on as well.
Yeah, hi, Alice.
Hi.
It's a real honor to speak with you. I've been a fan since I was a kid in the 70s, watching you on Don Kirshner's rock concert. And I recently was out in Arizona visiting some family, and I went to your thrift store, and I got really interested in all the charitable work that you're doing. And I was wondering if you could tell us more about that.
Well, Solid Rock Foundation is something that we've been doing, and my wife and I have been doing for over 20 years now. And I was standing downtown in Phoenix, and I was watching a drug deal go down, right? 2 kids, 16, 17 years old. And I was going, I'll bet you that kid doesn't know he could be the best guitar player in town. And that other kid might be the best drummer, only they've never had the chance to even start that. They probably grew up into that life, into the gang life, you know. I said, why don't we build a place where they can come in and learn guitar, bass, drums, whatever, dance, singing, whatever, for free. And instead of getting bogged down into the gang life, which is going to generally be dead or in jail, here's a whole alternative to them. And it's a Christian nonprofit organization. We've been doing it for 20 years, and we get 100 kids a day in there. For us, it's really, really fulfilling to see some of these kids end up in bands, not in jail.
We have a question again coming all the way from Moscow. We have Unkit and Victoria here, and they have a pretty dense question they want to ask.
Hi, Alice.
Hey.
It's a huge honor to speak with you. I'm actually from India. I'm currently staying in Moscow. So the classic Alice Cooper lineup, including yourself, the late Glenn Buxton, and Dennis Dunaway, were art students. And you were definitely inspired by Salvador Dali and other surreal artists. For me, it's very interesting to see that because in a way that influenced your stage aesthetics and your ideas. So how important do you think is this merging of arts and aesthetics with music, especially rock and roll and metal music?
Yeah, I think that the fact that we were art majors and ended up getting to work with Salvador Dali on some things. The idea of bringing art to rock and roll was just natural. The music was already there. I would go to see The Who, or I would go to see Pink Floyd or any of these bands, and they were all friends of ours, you know. And the only thing that was missing was the lyrics coming to life. And that's where I felt that's where I belonged. If you're going to say, welcome to my nightmare, don't just say it, give them the nightmare. You know, I mean, that was really the idea. Salvador Dali came to see the show, and he looked at it and he goes, it is surrealism. You know, it's an extension of me. Of course, everything was about Dali. He was great, you know. Groucho Marx saw the show and said, it's vaudeville. So everybody that saw the show had a different version of what it was, but what it was different from anything else that was out there.
Before we go on, I want to thank our guests, Unkit, Victoria, and Sue for coming on and asking their questions. We're going to depart from them right now. So thanks, guys. Thanks for being on. I only asked this question because it's right around the corner. Can you please tell us what a typical Halloween is in the Cooper household? You know, however many animals are sacrificed, how many candles are lit.
The thing that makes the Alice Cooper house so weird is that how straight we are. And yet everybody in my household is fairly insane. Nobody ever comes to our house at Halloween, which is
it out
weird.
of fear?
I think they're afraid of my mom.
Oh.
My mom is like, she's 91, and she's probably right now cleaning the garage or painting the house or something, toughest old bird on the planet. One of the strangest Halloweens I ever went to was, before I was married, I took Linda Blair to see The Exorcist. Linda Blair, the movie had just come out, and we went to see The Exorcist in Los Angeles. And we're sitting there, and this was the time when The Exorcist was so scared, people were throwing up and passing out. And it was really, truly, still probably the scariest movie of all time. And the guy in front of us is talking. And I tap him on the shoulder, and he turns around, he goes, "Oh my gosh, Alice Cooper." And then he looks at her and he goes, "Oh!" It's Reagan, I say, "Can you spin your head around just once? Just please, just spin your head around and pea soup all over this guy." But that was really fun to go to see The Exorcist with Linda Blair. She's going, "Oh, this part was so funny. This part."
Maybe before I sort of get out of this interview portion of the talk that we're having here, maybe grace us with one of the most wild war stories that you can tell us from back in the day, from your days on the road.
The very first time we finally got a gig was at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And every band from every city is trying to get that gig, to get into the Whiskey A Go-Go, because the Doors are the headliners there, And so finally we drive up in there, it says Alice Cooper. And I went, "Who's Led Zeppelin?" Nobody had ever heard of Led Zeppelin. They were a brand new band, and they had never heard of us. And when we got there, they showed up, and I looked at Jimmy Page and I went, "That guy was in the Yardbirds." I said, "We open for you." And we opened for them, and then the next night they said, "No, we open for you." So it was like a nice trade-off. We stayed friends ever since that. The very next night, we go to play a club called the Cheetah Club, and it says, Alice Cooper. Who's Pink Floyd? Some guy named Pink Floyd. He must dress all in pink, and his name is Floyd the Barber or something. I don't know. And we ended up being, of course, best friends. They ran out of money and moved in with us. So now you've got Alice Cooper and Pink Floyd living in a house in Venice. And Sid Barrett is so out of his mind. I'd wake up in the morning, walk into the kitchen, and he'd be sitting there, and there'd be a box of cornflakes there, and he'd be going, I guess the cornflakes were dancing for him or something, and I'd say, "How you doing, Sid?" And he'd go, Great. I said, look at this. I'd go, "What? It's a cornflakes box." He was fairly
Totally
gone.
sober.
Yeah,
Totally
but
sober.
Killer guitar player.
We've got a fan art contest going on right now, and
Okay.
you're going to be picking the winner. It is your head sort of depicted in the midst of a golf ball.
You know,
We
I
have
always-
the golf
I-
clubs here crossed.
I always said if I ever got on the PGA, I would go full Alice. If I was playing Tiger Woods and I was at full Alice, and I could shoot 67 every day, I would be full Alice out there.
This one's a little more morbid and dark. But we have you depicted in a diamond. You're like an undead character. Your ribs are showing.
That actually looks like me. Okay, that's great.
And this final one over here is a more of a logo type. We have a skull over here with your name on it. Your name right below it.
Number 2 is that person's got talent. That's really well done because you're playing the black against white. You're playing the negative against the positive there.
Your art has won. Alice has hand chosen your art.
Amazing, thank you. It's good news. It's an honor.
Well, you don't know what comes with it.
Would you like to throw a question at Alice about his album art or his artistic aesthetic or anything like that?
What kind of colours did you think for the T-shirt? Just like black and white, or?
You know, there was a play on Broadway, Dracula on Broadway.
Yeah.
And what they did was a very smart thing. Everything was black and white, except one little thing of red. That could use one small something of blood, you know, or red somewhere.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for picking me. Nice to meet you, Alice.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, again, my guest has been Alice Cooper. It's been great talking to you, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know how Skype works, but I love it because I can stay in touch with my family. When you're on the road as much as we are, things like Skype are really important. The artwork is great. The guy is really good. I mean, he's technically really, really good.
I love it. Let the show begin. I've been ready.
Thanks Skype Live Studio for the rad t-shirt.
You've been watching The Needle Drop on Track with Alice Cooper. Happy Halloween, you freaks.